Welcome to CoCreaThink Design. Let's explore design together. When I ask people what the word design brings to mind, most of us, we jump to things like beauty or elegance, maybe a certain style. It's just natural to think that design is all about making things look a little bit nicer.
But let's really poke at that idea for a second. Is good looking really the same thing as good design? I mean, if it were true, if good design was only about being pretty, how would you explain all those wonderfully useful things in our lives that are, perfectly plain? And maybe even more interesting, what about the opposite?
You've probably experienced this, right? Why is it that some things can be absolutely stunning to look at, but the second you try to use them, it's just maddening? You know, that gorgeous teapot that spills everywhere when you pour, or that super sleek phone that feels like it's designed to slip right out of your hand.
And that, right there, brings us to the main idea for today's explainer. We tend to see design as aesthetics, what's on the surface. But its deeper core, what it's really all about, is choice.
Now look, it makes perfect sense why we think this way. Most of the time, the only part of design we ever get to see is that final visible layer. It's the poster on the wall, the logo on a website, the outer shell of a new product, the style of a room, or that really cool packaging. These are the things we can see and touch, and they give us an immediate feeling.
And because this is what we see every day, it's so easy to believe that this is all design is, just making things look cool. And let me be clear, aesthetics are absolutely an important part of design. But here's the thing, when we only focus on that surface layer, we're missing the most important part of the story. So if it's not just about how things look, what is design actually dealing with? Well, it's wrestling with much deeper, much messier stuff. It's about people and how they'll actually use something. It's about function, does it work? It's about the context it has to exist in, the very real constraints of physics and materials, and of course, the cost. So what this means is that the fundamental question in design isn't really, is it pretty? A much better question, the real question, is, for these people, in this situation, with these limits, what's the right solution here? Design, you see, is really a process of finding answers.
And this gets to the very heart of the challenge. See, design almost never gets to happen in a perfect world. In reality, it's a constant juggling act, a process of making tough calls between demands that are often pulling in opposite directions. For instance, a designer has to ask, should we make this beautiful or should we make it perfectly clear and easy to understand? Do we make this phone thinner or do we make it more durable? Is it more important that this is cheap to buy or easy to maintain for years? Should this handle be perfectly shaped for a human hand or should it be shaped so we can mass produce it easily? None of these are just questions about looks. They're all about choice.
And this is the real secret. The truly hard part of design so often isn't getting the shape right. It's the trade-offs. It's having the wisdom to navigate all these competing needs and choosing a path that makes sense. That is the real work.
And once you start to see it this way, you realize these choices are everywhere. Think about a simple coffee cup lid. What makes it a good design isn't just its shape. It's about whether it spills, how the opening feels on your lips, if it keeps you from burning your hand, and if you can snap it on without a fight. Or think about a road sign. A good road sign isn't about a stylish font. It's about whether you can read it and understand it in a split second when you're driving. Maybe you're in a new place, you're a little stressed. Or even a chair. Sure, it can be a beautiful sculpture, but if you can only sit in it for 10 minutes before your back starts to hurt, well, you can't just judge its design on looks alone, can you?
So often, when we say we love something's design, what's really making us happy isn't just its beauty. It's the sum of all those tiny, nearly invisible choices that a designer made for us along the way.
So this really gives us a whole new way to see the world around us. Design can absolutely be about beauty and style. That's a fantastic goal. But if something is only beautiful, it hasn't really done its job as a piece of design.
Because the deeper purpose of good design is to make choices on our behalf. Choices that make things easier for us to understand, simpler for us to use, and just a better fit for the lives we're trying to live. These choices, both the big ones and the small ones, are what ultimately decide whether our world becomes a little clearer or a little more chaotic. And that's why every good design comes from clear thinking. This aligns perfectly with CoCreaThink's belief, where we connect teaching, research, and practice. Please click subscribe to join us, share this explainer to spread the impact, and stay tuned for our latest updates. Let's think clearly about design together.